We had the biggest day ever yesterday in the history of the company. So congratulations to you guys, because you guys did that. I think it was because we launched Mitochondria Shield, and also because the community is just growing. And then we're going to talk about today something that will help all of us in the future. And right now, if we have the ability to use this particular product, I am going to start by saying this information is for educational purposes only. It's not intended for medical advice or substitution for medical advice of a physician or other qualified healthcare professional. You should not use this information for diagnosing a health or fitness problem or disease. This is for educational purposes only. You should always consult with a doctor or other healthcare professional for medical advice or information about diagnosis and treatment. It's not to ever be used for sales or marketing purposes. So today's call will be used to really share the ingredients that are behind the Mitochondria Defense Shield, and to really discuss how they help people's bodies, how each ingredient plays a part, and how they were worked together. We will do many other educational formats on this, but this is a start for this particular product. And I want to say, from the perspective of the formulator,
you're the formulator.
Yes, oh. This product is going to be something that, as we progress through everything that we're getting ready to go through, I think as a world, with the different mutations as well as the different things occurring in our environment, whether it's 5G or shedding, this will be something that really helps. And what I love about it, you guys hear me talk about anti-aging all the time, because I have invented patents that actually state they reverse the cell age of the hair, nails, and skin and the cells. I don't make claims that I cure anything. I don't make claims that I do anything. My intent is to get to the root of the problem so you can cure the cause of what causes things. And you guys are really going to see that today.
And create greatness.
And to create things that really solve issues. So for me, this is a magical product because it's able to do a lot of things and bring in certain things I've written about in patents that are pending, as well as things that will really help you all. People say to me all the time, you can't stop the mutation of DNA. And I say, that's not true. Clayton will ask me and I'll say, that's not true. And then I'll show him something. Or you can't protect a chromosome.
No,
and that's not
Pat,
true.
Go
either.
back, because
I don't want to talk about me today.
You don't get to. I get to.
Please don't, Clay.
No, because we have to make sure that we qualify who the teachers are. So let me make sure that we are understood on the medical disclaimer. As Dr. Rahm was just stating, everything that we're discussing is for educational and entertainment purposes.
I didn't say entertainment purposes.
But that, it's interesting because that little term invokes the Fourth Amendment of the United States of America, which allows us the freedom to actually talk about what we want. So everything that we're going to be discussing is for educational and entertainment purposes. But what's most important, as this amazing being that's here with us today, Dr. Christina Rahm was mentioning, as the formulator and the chief savant. Actually, that's a good title. Mother of four, not one, not two, not three, but four. Cancer survivor multiple times, Lyme survivor. Masters in Science, PsyD, EDD, 3 PhDs, postdoctoral certification from Harvard in nanotechnology and bioscience engineering, postdoctoral certification from Cornell in pharmaceutical management. Additionally, in nutritional counseling, as a former adjunct professor at Johns Hopkins in oncology. She's worked across the pharmaceutical and bioscience industry in initially sales, but medical science and clinical science, working with payers. She holds a level of scientific acumen that is beyond reproach, and honestly beyond what other people can comprehend. And that's the beautiful part. So you can go to the next slide. And then there's me. You can go to the next slide.
No, I'll talk about Clayton.
Oh.
So I would like to talk about the fact that Clayton has had 25 years of experience.
It's more than that.
It's more than that, though, actually. He grew up in a veterinarian practice. You guys have heard that many times. He also has worked in numerous companies in this space. and done a lot of research and science. He was a CEO of a healthcare company. He doesn't talk about that a lot. That's one of the ways we met. I also met him through working with the NBA and the NFL with professional athletes. And he's one of the main reasons I started working on certain formulas. I've worked on formulas my entire life, but there were problems that they needed me to solve. And that's really one of the reasons why I ended up here today, probably the biggest reason. My mission has always been to help people scientifically and from a health and wellness perspective throughout the world. But I think being able to work with, I consider Clay one of my best friends, my partners, my best friend.
I was going to say at least top 5.
My partners and the significant other in my life that brings love and hope. And, you know, I want to say this. We all have these titles, like you're married or you're a brother-in-law or you're a sister-in-law. Let's just say this, guys. In the world, I don't really go by titles. I don't really care if you have a doctorate degree or you don't, or if you have children or you don't. What I do care about is that we're friends and we do the right thing. If we're not in each other's lives to make our lives better, if we're causing stress or causing issues for each other, then to me, that's almost a definition of evil. Because in life, you have to make sure that you're taking care of each other. And sometimes the more power or money you get in life, you try to make others' lives difficult. I feel like Root has grown really quickly and really fast. And with that, you do have more money, you do have more power. But our job in life is not to mistreat people, but to treat people with kindness and love. With that, though, we have had to make changes. And those changes have involved changing what we do every week on podcasts, changing what we do every week on videos that we're even doing. So we've moved from having IS&S every week or Clayton doing his Tuesday calls to just certain calls because you guys have asked us to do more and more interviews, more and more podcasts. We plan on traveling back and forth to Europe and now the Middle East and now Asia. And in order for us to do that, we have to streamline what we're doing. We're not trying to hurt anyone's feelings. We want everyone to be on an equal ground. We're bringing in different doctors to do case studies so that everyone's teams are sponsored and everyone's teams have leaders. And I want to say this before we start this Mitochondria Defense Shield discussion. This is a defender of the immune system. This is why this is made. And this is why this is here. I think I'm getting stronger because of this community and because of our products. So,
you know what? You're wearing red today, and that was spicy.
Well, I'm trying to be a good example to all these people that are good examples for me.
That's kind of hot.
They make me a stronger person.
All right.
So today,
I don't disagree with anything you just said. And this community, as we grow, I think many people here understand, you know, is really focused on the empowerment of amazing women.
So let's jump in.
Now that we got the housekeeping out of the way, as I mentioned, this is all for education and entertainment purposes.
I was just being sincere, but I think Clayton's
But are we clear? All
Okay.
right. Now that we got that out of the way, allow me to put my glasses back on so I'm calm.
Okay. I would like to
Alright.
talk about the formula that I formulated.
So let's hit on mitochondrial defense, and we'll get into this. But why did you do this, and why is this important? And then we'll get into it.
Well, because of some of the things happening in our environment around the world, our DNA integrity. So the DNA that we have in our bodies are under attack.
Isn't that how we're formed? And isn't that the foundation of everything that we are, is our DNA?
Yes. And so it's really important if you know that there's all these 5G things out there, that there's all this shedding, that there's all these different environmental factors like heavy metals, viruses, bacteria, et cetera, you've got to help maintain the DNA. We know there's certain things that are happening right now that can alter the DNA and cause DNA mutation. So for me, in order to stabilize that, no matter what's happening, we've got to give our bodies the products they need in order to do that. And by the way, when you preserve the DNA integrity, then you're helping the cells function appropriately. And that is what causes the body to be protected. So when you think about Mitochondria Shield, I want you to think about red, because it's like a stop sign saying, no, I'm going to protect my cells. I'm not going to get older. I'm going to be like Regina and just get more beautiful every day. I'm not going to have disease because my body's going to be stronger like Astrid, and I'm going to keep getting better and better. I see them on the screen, so I'm using their names. But, from my perspective, here's the thing. We can no longer pretend like our bodies aren't under attack. They're under attack from the day we're born. But the problem is now our whole lives on the inside and outside are under constant change, constant stress, constant attacking. So we have to put things into our body to really protect the integrity of what's going on. So Mitochondria Shield is made with NAD and Quercetin. Those are only two of the ingredients. I'm going to go over how they were made together and why that is significant. I tried to use the purest sources possible. I always try to go with natural, gluten-free, wheat-free sources, as well as sources that come from the root or from the actual source of how to create it. NAD is something that is involved in every organism in the world, whether it's a bacteria, anything living, breathing, functioning, whether it's a virus that comes in to attack. So in order for you to be strong, in order for you to preserve your body, you have to have it. It's not that you need it, you have to have it. And the problem is, as your body is under attack, you lose a lot of its ability to work. A lot of people do not understand NAD because it has not been a topic. It's just something that we've been alerted with. Probably Patrick and I were talking about this probably over the 6 to 7 years that we've been dealing with wellness. Now, if you ask me, did I study it in school? Yes, they talk about it in school. They talk about the importance, but it's so hard to source. It's so hard to get. And then I want to say this, not all NAD is created the same. I want to be really clear about that. This little product, I don't know if they can see me, but it's a very small pill. I can tell you.
I get one.
Okay, Clayton and I are going to take
This
it.
is smaller than Tylenol.
Another project I've worked on my career was a vitamin D3 and K2 project, because you can't really process D3 or D without K2. So it was really important for me to add those ingredients at the level they needed to be added in order for it to be catalyst to work. I also really wanted to make sure that I added a vitamin C catalyst and magnesium catalyst. With Clean Slate, I used different catalysts like vitamin C, trace minerals, magnesium. I added that in here so that it would work even more effectively with the Clean Slate. So when you're eradicating things out of the body, at the same time, you're protecting and you're shielding the body from this constant attack. When you are approached with a virus, bacteria, fungus, the cells are under attack. But if you provide spikes around them so that it can't get in, then the cell is preserved. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
So you hit on energy, right? And energy, as definition and as defined, is the ability to do work. That is the definition of energy. The mitochondria of every cell in your body is the powerhouse, right? And that's where energy comes from.
Yeah. So if you want to go ride a bike, if you want to work, if you want to have sex, if you want to, everything, no.
Oh, not now.
Everything in life is about having this energy. So when people have dysfunction, whether it is an autoimmune dysfunction, a cognitive dysfunction, a sexual dysfunction, a lot of it has to do with the mitochondria. And it's something that it's hard to drill down to because it's a scientific issue that, most of people don't study in school unless they go to school for years around science. In medicine, they do talk about it, but they don't really explain how do you increase or protect the mitochondria? How do you make it work? Because when it's dysfunctioning, when it's not working, that's what causes aging. That's what causes diseases and diseases of aging. So you guys have heard me say many times, dementia is not a natural part of aging.
Is aging actually a natural part if everything is provided and remains functional? Do cells actually have to age if you maintain ideal levels of NAD and ideal levels of the key components? Do cells actually age?
So the mitochondria, the glutathione the telomeres, all the detox regulation pathways, all are things that are related to aging. If those aren't working right, then you age very quickly. And something people don't know is that people age differently. So like I may age, and I can tell you, my parents are 80, they look probably
60.
70, 65, 70. My family has good genetics, and I was given that. Like what I mean by that is we all have different genetics. Some people actually are beautiful. I was not beautiful when I was younger. I'm not beautiful. I mean, I was not.
You're kind of beautiful.
No, I was not. But what I'm saying is we all age differently. So you can have this beautiful girl in high school, but then when she's 40, she's no longer attractive. And a lot of that is because genetically she wasn't made to age well, or environmentally, and usually it's both. So what you've got to do is you've got to approach both. You've got to preserve the genetics, not let an epigenetic present, so the aging process is slower. And then you also have to environmentally get things out of the body so the cells are younger. So when Clay asked me that question, my answer is yes and no, because the issue with it is that if you had all of these things working properly, you would not age. Your age would get older, like you might be, 40, but you could look and
20.
Yeah.
So chronologically, you will age. Biologically, you will age much slower, which could bring up your Noah 600 philosophy of.
Forgot about that.
Oh.
I had a philosophy called Noah 600, and it basically went back to a book many of us have read. I've read a lot of books, but the Old Testament, when I was a kid, my mother would read to me about Noah and the ark and flooding. And, people would live to be 600 years old. There were different things in life that have happened through the evolution of what we've gone through. And basically the summary is we are in an age where we progressed where we could live longer, and now we're backtracking, and we can't live as long because we're being attacked by all these outside forces. So we've got to take power back. We've got to put power into the mitochondria. We've got to put power back into our bodies. We can't quit. We can't give up. We can't be scared. We have to have solutions. And that's why I use certain ingredients in this product.
So there's an old philosophy of the tortoise versus the hare. So really what you're saying is we could function like the hare, but age like the tortoise. This could be profound.
Oh my goodness.
You could move and function with the speed of a jackrabbit, but we know if you go like to San Diego Zoo, they have the tortoises, or the tortai, if we want to pronounce it inappropriately, but sound amazing. multiple tortoises are now tortai, but you have big, very large turtles that are 375 plus years old.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So
well, that's what
you can actually do both now if you do this right.
Well, it's interesting when we look at reptiles. I was in a project with a guy named Samar Chowchua, and we were doing some stuff with reptiles with Procter and Gamble.
Yeah, we won't talk about reptilians.
Okay, we won't. But what I was going to tell you is they have the ability, and part of that is because of the mitochondria. Part of that is because of how they produce glutathione.
Yeah.
Part of it's because they have this strong NAD structure, and they can live, like Clayton said, to be 400 years old. So, I've been in a lot of projects that I look back now and I don't agree with. I've been in a lot of projects that I think now, wow, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But I can tell you this project with Mitochondria Shield Defense is something, or Defense Shield. I know we have to change the name.
We'll call it Mito Defense.
This is one of the projects that is very important to me, because being able to produce a product that can help people with the integrity of the cell through the ingredients was something I really wanted to do. And I was on so many podcasts where I would hear doctors say, you can't prevent DNA mutation. And I don't like to argue with people. I'd rather just get along. But my comment back was, there's different things you can do to preserve the integrity of the DNA. And every time Clayton would ask me, I would say, just wait, we're producing a product that's going to help people. And I started with vitamin C, and let me explain this, why this is the first on the deck. Vitamin C to me is one of the most important nutrients. And I've been pretty upset because a lot of governments are lowering the dose of vitamin C. While I know that there's lots of autoimmune disorders, even cancer and different things where people do IVs where it reaches up to 2,000 milligrams. And there's studies that show that it helps. There's some studies that show that it doesn't. But if you look at the combination of the studies, it's very easy to understand that this particular vitamin can really help. And vitamin C is used in different ways. I know you guys are going to have a lot of questions about vitamin C, and I will do that later because we just need to get through this deck. But vitamin C made in the right way will really preserve the body and preserve the cells and really help the cells fight infection, viruses, colds, et cetera, et cetera. And I've done a presentation on that. It's very important, but I did want to bring up this particular study that talks about how it prevents DNA mutation induced by oxidative stress.
So hold on, Linus Pauling won a Nobel Prize for his discovery and initial research on vitamin C.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right? What are you going to win?
I do have some patents pending around this particular formulation of vitamin C. Many people have asked me, do I need to take the natural barrier support? My answer is, when you are going through the flu season or going through day to day, you need vitamins. I use the natural barrier support every day in my water. I try to use it every day. Sometimes when I travel, I leave it when I get really upset about that. Mitochondria Defense Shield is taken once a day. It's a 60-day supply. But if you get sick, I tell people take more than one.
That's 2 months.
2 months. And most products that have NAD in it at this level are double the price of this product. And this is a 2-month supply.
And that's usually a 15 to 20-day supply with the other products that are twice as much as what a 60-day supply is. Why would we do such a thing? Because we create greatness.
I wanted people to be able to have it. But I do want to go back to this slide because this is really important to me.
Yeah.
So if you look at this study, it discusses the mutations of your DNA, and it talks about the frequency of mutations and how if you have vitamin C compared, if a cell is depleted of vitamin C, it basically is depleted of glutathione, and you know how important glutathione is. And
the master antioxidant.
And when it's depleted of glutathione, your increase in mutation frequency occurs. And I say this all the time. I don't want people to be scared. I don't want people to be alarmed, but you've got to stop that signaling from bad things happening. And you've got to empower the good cells that are involved. And so this study is really important to me because it does directly support this concept. It's been a concept that's been argued over time because vitamin C cannot be commercialized to just be a pharmaceutical product. No one owns vitamin C. So therefore, there's lots of discussions around it, and they're telling people to reduce it. From my opinion, I can't tell people what to do, but they should raise the amount of vitamin C they take. That's just my personal opinion. I can't give advice, but that's what I would do for me.
What kind? Liposomal?
We have
dehydrated, simplified vitamin C, best version? Yes? No?
Why are you trying to add, because we use different types of vitamin C in all the products.
I know, but
yeah, so we use all forms, Clayton. I know you're trying to point to one particular form, but just so you guys know, when it comes to what I've used in the different products, it's a formulation that has not been used, in my opinion, with other groups.
So the key is in different products, there are different forms of vitamin C to work in different mechanisms of action.
Yes, and some of the vitamin C's are not categorized. So that's why I submitted patents that are pending on this particular vitamin C formulation, as well as the ones in the other formulas. But I know people argue about vitamin C. So Clayton's asking a question. I can only anticipate what he's trying to say. He's trying to tell me which kind is better. The kind that this is produced with is different from what you're citing, is my opinion.
I'm just leading you, so it allows you to talk about what you've done.
Okay, well.
Because this is not scripted. We haven't even gone through this deck together.
No, because I produced this formula all on my own.
Oh.
Clayton was like, what are you doing? I go, we have to do this product. And yeah.
Can we go back to what we started with at the beginning? Hey guys, if you want to come across as really smart, listen to your wife. Okay.
You're smart in a lot of areas more than I am. So you are. But for this particular formulation, again, I want to get back into this. When I submitted the patents that are pending on the particular formulation, And just so you guys know, people ask me, can I find your patents? You can look up Christina Rahm Cook or Christina. Most of them were filed under my name before it was changed. And these, or I had to keep it because my driver's license said that. But most of these formulations, I did do patents around it. They are pending. They were full patents. They were not just temporary patents. I had done 14 provisional patents. These were not. These were full utility patents. And those will come out within the next year, whether they are approved or not. So far, I've done 3 that were filed before that. And 1 was approved, 2 were denied, but the one that was approved was with 168 claims. And you can Google it.
Not 1 claim, 168 claims.
No, but yes. And so while I
that's-
can't make claims,
that's more.
you guys can go on and see those patents and order the full patent so you can see the different things that I did. And I want to encourage you guys to, because that will help you when you guys are talking to other people. But let me go back to vitamin D. So with the vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, and vitamin K, and magnesium, I wrote things around it. Zinc's not in this. I was talking about the other one, but I did a particular formulation on how I made the vitamins and what I did and how I sourced it, and how my big thing, just so everyone knows, is everything, whether it's a zeolite or water or vitamin D, they still have toxins in them. Coffee beans have toxins in them.
Many
so
kinds.
my big thing has been to clean it first, get the negative stuff out, eradicate it out, and then make the formula, which no one else does.
How profound is that? It's almost like if you had a city that was on fire.
And you're trying to put it out.
You have to put the fire out first, get rid of all the damage before you try to rebuild the city.
Yeah, but I want to point.
Who would do such a thing?
Okay.
Only you.
Well, I want to point out that the vitamin D that was utilized, you can see lots of different research on how vitamin D can help. But the biggest thing for me, again, was protecting the mitochondria and the cells from damage, helping repair the body. Again, another question I get all the time is, once a DNA mutation or an oxidation of chromosomes occur, can you fix it? And my answer is always yes and no. You would have to be dedicated to fix it. You would have to work on it. You would have to have the right ingredients. It's like remodeling a house or repairing something that's broken. So to do that, you really have to look at things that work in human cell lines as well as primary cell lines. Those are 2 different things because of the receptors involved. I used a type of vitamin D that helps reduce the growth and silences the growth of things that are happening negatively, including making sure that the mitochondria in the lungs, in the respiratory system, are working better and functioning better, because we know that a lot of these things that are happening are causing blood clots, breathing issues, heart attacks. So my goal was to stop that trigger, to silence it, so that the cellular damage and death was not occurring throughout the body. That was the goal in producing the product. And that's one of the reasons that vitamin D was used. And this particular article does talk about cell health and how vitamin D helps with that. So there you go again. I can't go against governments. I can't go against the FDA or the FTC. They have regulations on vitamin D and vitamin D3, which you really have a vitamin D2 and a vitamin D3. But anyway, they did regulations, but from my perspective, vitamin D is very important to take. It's very important to utilize, and the vitamin D that's not utilized will leave the system silently. Only in extreme cases is there ever an issue with vitamin D. And as you age, we know there's a depletion of vitamin D. When you have an autoimmune disorder or you're sick, there's a depletion of vitamin D and vitamin C.
And why is that?
Because the body is utilizing all of that to try to help the body heal, but it uses up all of that in the system. So it's no longer available for the entire body.
Because it's toxic and it's trying to fix itself.
Yeah, it's sick. So one of the things, I still remember being in school and sitting in a class, and I was vitamin D deficient. And I kept going back. Any of you guys that know me know I had a lot of struggles while I was pregnant. And I constantly was having this issue with vitamin D. And they would bring me back and say, you have to have vitamin D. And I couldn't figure it out. And then I was in school and I started reading, you have to have vitamin K for vitamin D to work appropriately.
And you've done vitamin K in like Relive Greens, not through an exact specific supplement, but through
Yes.
nature's most abundant sources to provide vitamin K. So when a lot of people were
Yes.
looking for vitamin K because of the vitamin D and natural barrier support, and the quercetin because of, you know, other products are like, we have quercetin and it goes with vitamin C. Actually, if you do it naturally and properly, it's even more advanced than anything else on the market. But in this specific case,
I did use a form of vitamin K2.
because of why?
I used it because I wanted to make sure that when this product went into the body, that it actually performed the way I felt like it needed to perform. And that means I needed the body to be able to absorb and be bioavailable and to work throughout the entire body so that it could really activate and help. Vitamin K is in certain foods. Can we go back to the last slide? I just want everyone to see this. Thank you so much. Vitamin K2 is in a lot of foods, but it's one of the ingredients in foods that if you don't cook it right, if you don't make it right, it doesn't work effectively in the body. And Relive Greens, it's in its purest form, so it's naturally in the greens, which is fantastic. But for this particular product, I really wanted to approach blood clotting, and because of all the stuff that was going on, and metabolism of heart health. So if you look at K2, you're hitting that. And for me, I knew what was going on with all of the things in the brain and the clots and the heart. And so I really wanted to touch upon that and really wanted to help the body have an extra punch so that it could protect itself.
So much like with Zero In, you created something that is strategically targeted with this combination of ingredients to activate the exact process that you want it to do.
Yeah, because if you activate a certain protein, then it becomes protective and the blood starts working better, the body starts working better. So my goal was to have that happen. And it was essential to me. I worked at a company, many of you guys know, called Biogen IDEC. And I worked on a product called Tysabri on the medical and clinical research side. I was brought in on the immunology dermatology side, but we did cross-pollination with oncology and cancer and diseases, and also with multiple sclerosis and neurological illnesses. So with that, Tysabri was a product that was an IV infusion, human monoclonal antibody that was really used to help patients with multiple sclerosis. And through that, again, I was approached with different things that were happening with K2 that we were just discovering as scientists. And we saw, again, this protection of the mitochondria. We saw a protection of the brain. We saw a protection about what was going on. And we would even tell patients this is something they should take along with the product that they were using from the company. This particular study right here talks about how it protects the mitochondrial damage, and how if you look at the last bullet, it talks about there was an increasing number of attacks per year that were higher in patients with optical nerve lesions. If you look at the entire article, it talks about this K2 actually helped the people with multiple sclerosis not have as many lesions in the brain. And the lesions on the brain from multiple sclerosis are what cause so many issues. And I want to point to one more study that I don't have on here. At that company, Biogen IDEC, we had trials with lupus. And we saw significant advancements with people that had lupus when they were using vitamin K2 and D3 as well. The next one's magnesium. You know, magnesium, and I've said this before because I've done talks about this, it is underrated, I guess is what I would say. And the magnesium in this particular instance that I used was through a natural source. And the goal was, again, to improve the mitochondria dysfunction. Your nervous system has to be regulated. Your blood sugar levels need to be regulated. Heart health is so important right now, more than ever. Inflammation and this cascade event is causing blood clots and heart problems and aneurysms. We've got to stop it. You got to turn it off, and strokes. So magnesium is extremely important because you need this for the synthesis to work appropriately. So I made sure that I put this article on here. I wanted to talk about the induction of preconditioning, and actually Jayla and Tiger worked on this deck with me. I try to send them stuff, but this particular article, it's interesting when when I was going over the deck. It's one of my favorites because magnesium is known in the brain, even with babies, even when you're forming, to be so important. It's one of the targets that people miss. And working in a healthcare environment my whole life, they've seen so many women that they can't figure out why someone's born with cerebral palsy. They can't figure out why there's all these issues, and they can't point to one cause. But one of the things we've been able to see is that because some of those people are lacking magnesium, it's a triggering event. The reason for that is because magnesium is protective, and it is able to really stop the production of inflammation in the body. And that was another reason I really wanted that in there. We know that it helps with the mitochondria resistance. So what that means is it is a protective barrier, and it resists anything trying to get into the mitochondria, so it doesn't function appropriately.
But mercury and other heavy metals will actually block magnesium binding sites to inhibit magnesium absorption.
Yeah.
So if you want your magnesium to work, and if you are testing or if you are believed to be magnesium deficient, it likely is not that you're not getting the magnesium. It is true that you're not able to use it. So without starting to clean things up at simultaneously providing the proper mechanisms to deliver the magnesium, well, then you're SOL.
He's right. And I used, by the way, guys, I worked on another project where I used this particular trace mineral, and I chose it for this formulation. It's from a specific company. I've used other trace minerals, and I utilize them. So when I source something, I usually don't tell you guys what I source, but this was one of the trace minerals I wanted to highlight because it's easy for me to work with. It was easy for me to formulate with the other products, and it's known for being really good for people's bodies. But when I take an ingredient and it's like a zeolite, I do alter it. So I want to be honest with you guys. I make it more bioavailable and efficacious and safer. That's my goal when I'm making a product. With this particular product, when I say that we use this trace mineral, it also has traces of zinc.
Why is it in trace minerals that we use sea salts? Do we come from water? Seawater? No, like biologically.
Yeah, we do.
Our blood. So you
well,
actually
everything does.
Everything does?
Well, it's like NAD. We're going to talk about that in a second.
So you actually
I
want to
say
use
everything, but if you look at what's
every
in
bacteria, every cell has NAD.
Yeah, and our body is composed. I mean, you know this. We're 80% is our skin, but we're composed largely of
Seawater. So why not?
I don't usually say seawater, but
well, it is.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, so if you look at the type of trace mineral I chose, it does have traces of the zinc, and it shows that, you know, for me, again, people ask me, do you need natural barrier support? I take it. You don't have to take both, but for me, Mitochondria Shield is something that you need to add if you are on the natural barrier support. If you're on the Mitochondria Shield every day, you can choose whether you want to do the natural barrier support or not. I choose to, but everyone's going to be different. So if this makes sense to you, this product is extremely important, because this product is the one we're discussing that is able to do these things that we're talking about, and taking 1 to 2 a day. 1 if you're healthy, 2 if you're sick is the discussion that we're having today. It's important because our goal again is to protect the root community, could protect the people that you know, and provide the body what it needs. And the next couple of slides after this one, I'm going to talk about this really quick, but the next ones are really going to hammer home what the purpose of this product is. So you guys have heard me talk a lot about zinc. It really is important as far as helping the body, again, protect against any kind of delivery system or attack against the mitochondria. And that's extremely important. We have what's called elevated ATP. We have this battery cell. Our goal with everything we're doing with this product is to preserve the energy, not let other energy takers come in and take it, instead to keep it whole and protect it. And if we can, recharge it. So let me give another example. Clayton drives a Tesla. When he drives a Tesla, the battery's depleted. You have to charge it back. and then it gets to the full level. Our goal with this product is to get the batteries in our body to the highest level so they can fight anything that we have to fight.
And then we can continually recharge it?
Yes.
What?
Yes. So think of this as you're putting your car into a charger, you're putting gas into the car so it works.
I like the supercharger, so you can supercharge?
You can supercharge it too.
Oh, so what you're also hitting on is like natural barrier support is that extra kick when you need it. So it's a great thing to have on hand. You might not use it every day, but you've got it on hand if you get exposed to something or you need an extra boost.
Yes.
Oh.
So again, we're talking about mitochondria.
It's like nitrous oxide for the body, only you can create more nitrous
right.
oxide. Oh, if you want your car to go faster.
It's like something that you would add to the Trinity and Relive Greens because it really gives you that boost. I've talked about this from the very beginning. One barrier is not enough. Our bodies are smart, but viruses are smart too. They talk to each other, they grow. Bacteria does the same thing. So does fungus, so do parasites. We are dealing with all of this stuff around us, and we have to have energy so that we can fight it. And that's the purpose, again, of this product, as well as the whole anti-aging process. But we're going to jump into quercetin because I'm scared we won't get through the call. Quercetin is something that I've always loved working with. Quercetin is extremely important when you're fighting free radicals in the body, when you're trying to reduce inflammation, when you're looking at reducing the risk of cancer. Quercetin is one of those first things that come to mind. It also is known for preventing neurological diseases, infections, and reducing, and catch this because you guys are hearing it through the whole slide deck, heart disease and high blood pressure, heart attacks, strokes, aneurysm. There's so many people having them. My goal was to really help this stop by producing a product that had ingredients that could assist the body. So quercetin is really the star along with NAD of this product line.
But it's how it's. So here's a question, because there's other products that promote quercetin because of some of the benefits. But if combined properly with other catalysts and other components, like you're talking about with the NAD, you amplify the benefits of the individual ingredient or the individual compound.
Yes, but you know what's funny about quercetin?
What's that?
It increases NAD.
What?
Yes. So,
as Little John used to say, what?
Well, the results in this particular study even show this. There's been multiple studies that show this, that by using certain types of quercetin, you can protect the mitochondria function, but you also can go in and increase cellular NAD.
So hold on. So you don't need a lot of an ingredient, like some companies or people will do is say you need a whole lot of this because they can, increase the price or whatnot. But if you have the right strategic amounts and the right combinations, they too amplify one another.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's really important that.
How do you know these things? Do you speed read with an eidetic memory, and are you a nanobiotechnologist?
This has nothing to do with this slide deck. We do need to make sure that we get it on the screen, though.
I think everyone can see us because we're on speaker mode.
Okay, so that's what's so important about quercetin. It actually is one of those key players that really provides the mitochondria with what is needed and provides the cells with the power. So I was really, it took forever to find what I wanted and then how to make it and how to deliver it into the system with the NAD. NAD is something for me that's personal because I've had cancer and because I've had Lyme disease. And we know NAD has been used for people with CTE or developmental brain issues or cognitive functioning issues. We also know that people all over the world go to NAD clinics to help with certain types of cancer. And even though we can't make the claim that this product does any of that, what we can say is there's lots of articles and there's lots of support that show how this particular product can repair and protect. I'm going to say this again, because I had to do an interview and I had a doctor argue with me about this. NAD is able to repair and protect DNA.
What?
It also is able to protect.
Go back one slide real quick. What is NAD? Because this is actually one of my favorite words to.
I have a hard time saying it.
I'll pronounce it because it's one of my favorite things to pronounce. It's kind of like pronouncing sternocleidomastoid, right? When
I can't say that.
When you look at anatomy, and physiology, because I put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. But what is NAD? Beta nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. If you can say it 3 times fast, you're doing really well. But this is quite profound, because
because they know it slows aging of the cell. There's been so many studies that show if you can do this, if you use NAD, it helps with the telomeres, it helps with detox, it helps slow age,
helps with addiction.
Helps with addiction greatly. There's a lot of clinics now that use it for addiction.
So
it increases your energy.
It's insane, because I started studying this like six or so years ago, when the first medical food, and this was a nutritional supplement that they got approved with payers as a medical food, and they charged $350 a bottle. Crazy.
Well, the clinics charge
$500 for an IV
that doesn't last through every day through the month,
and it doesn't last very long. And this
it is good though with people that have,
if you need a boost.
Well, it also has been known it is good, but the problem is you'd have to take it every day and your veins wouldn't make it, because it's hard on the heart. If you just do a flush, it can really feel it can hurt people.
Stress on your heart.
Yeah, so you got to be really careful with it.
So
not when you take it in this pill format, but when you take it as an IV, you just have to be careful.
So if you were doing IVs, if a clinic was doing IVs, or if you were a practitioner or someone that is recommending IVs, this is probably the key component to make sure that people are maintaining optimal levels every day that they're not doing an IV, because what research also shows right now is that IVs aren't as beneficial as small doses every day to allow the body to use those precursors to produce it biologically.
Yeah. Hey, Patrick, can we go back, because people are asking, and I understand why, to see the previous slide. We're gonna
some of the benefits of
NAD,
and
because we didn't spend too much time on this, but because there's so much, and I know you guys are thinking, gosh, this is huge, because the truth is, when you age, which is what the next slide's about, when you age, it's a proven fact that NAD goes down in the cells, right? NAD, again, is in everything. If it's bacteria, you've got NAD in it. I mean, if you've got a virus, it's in everything.
So
that's living. That's like
the organism.
Cells.
So if we're looking at bacteria, we're looking at other components. You could say a parasite, fungus, anything. They all have NAD in them.
Components.
NAD components. So if we're looking at cellular health, right? Each cell of your body, all 7 trillion plus cells in your body, are under attack. And a simple way of looking at this is that which has a higher level of NAD is going to be victorious, because it has more power.
Yes. Well, and we know, like, for example, one of my professors that I was in school, they worked on CRISPR. And CRISPR is where you recreate something from a slice, right? Or you can recreate a dinosaur, you can recreate an arm. And one of the things that was interesting about that is the health of the mitochondria. The NAD support in that whole process is extremely important, because you're regenerating cells. So you're basically starting and regenerating a person.
You're creating.
You're cloning. Yeah, you're making this person. And that's what's so interesting about NAD, that our cells are depleted of it as we age, but we know we have it, then you can regenerate, which is why when you're younger, you've got all this NAD, because your body is regenerating. When you're older, it doesn't even happen. I mean, it's just so hard. So NAD is a critical component. So when people ask me, don't we have another product like this? I'm like, no.
What if you started doing this as a kid? What would you'd be a super baby?
Well, and I got to tell you, for me, because it preserves the chromosomal activity. It's really important when people are getting ready to get pregnant that they are taking a product like this. However, if you ask me, can I be on this product while I'm pregnant? Different doctors are going to have different answers to that.
But what would the good ones say?
They have huge arguments about it, to be honest. I'm just being honest. They have huge disagreements, because the long-term studies have not been shown. From my perspective, again, these are all natural products. It's like saying, can you get NAD in food? Yes, but it's very hard to get this amount in food. But again, this is a natural process with natural products. We can talk more about that issue later. I can do a deck on that and explain the pros and cons. But for me, I just want people to remember this: repair, protect, regenerate, boost, promote. This is doing all those things inside your body. People are so worried about putting a skincare item on their face, but they don't understand that what the real issue is inside of their body. And that's why it's so important.
So there was I think the question just popped up. If the body produces it naturally, why do we need this?
Because your body is depleted of it as you age.
Your body's depleted
And
of the compounds it needs to produce it.
Yeah, and it's depleted as you're approached by things, it depletes as well. So when your body's under attack, this is your energy source. And remember, we're not just talking about NAD. We're talking about the fact to protect the mitochondria, to produce glutathione, which is so important in our body when we're fighting anything. These ingredients together, that's what they're doing. And that's what's so important. I actually worked on a project at a pharmaceutical company that is getting ready to be, can you go back, Patrick? I'm working on a project with a pharmaceutical company, or I did before I came over to Root, where we worked on glutathione. You know the project, we're not going to name it right now. We were doing studies in Honduras and different countries, but it's interesting in that project. I kept thinking, if you could produce glutathione from products like NAD and Quercetin, you don't need a pharmaceutical product. And that's really what we're doing right here. I want to go into this one more time. From the simplest organism, such as bacteria, to the most complex multicellular organism, NAD is a key cellular component. It declines with age. The decline plays a crucial role in dysfunction and age-related diseases. What are age-related diseases, Clay? Alzheimer's? Dementia, Parkinson's,
aging,
ALS, the deterioration of the body. So I really want to point this out to
cardiovascular
people.
issues,
yeah, heart issues, blood
systemic
pressure,
inflammation.
So the last bullet is really important to me too, and then we'll go to the next slide. If you can increase the mitochondria activity and activate serotonins, you can regulate a lifespan. That's what the studies show. So I'm really interested in and excited about what this product's going to do for people.
Where do you source the NAD from?
I'm not telling people that.
Oh.
Do you want me to?
Nope. It was just asked. I was going to give you the opportunity. Some things stay secret because
you asked me not to.
I know.
Okay.
I was just giving you the opportunity to let people know what is proprietary.
Well, there's a lot of stuff proprietary about this, but if you want me to talk about it another one, I can. You usually tell me not to. Okay.
Nope.
This particular study right here is about pre-treatment, which is elevating the mitochondrial stress and protecting the myocardial cells via pathways I talked about earlier. So it's really important because, again, I've said my goal many times was to protect the body, to activate pathways to get rid of stress and to detox or eradicate things out, and to promote this process, which will help the body regenerate, repair, and really be what it's supposed to be, because you don't want your body to be less than it can be as you age. Your goal needs to be better than you were when you were 20 or 30 or 16. You want to prepare the body, you want to disrupt any stress, and you want to really be this beautiful human being that we're all meant to be, that can fight disease, that can fight illness. We're all going to go through things in life, but just like the Root community, you got to get rid of the bad things, protect the good things, and really elevate your body to be its highest potential.
So there's a lot of people in the community that, their body has, and their internal environment has kind of worked against them over time because of environmental exposure, stress, all these other things. And, everybody has something that they want to work on. It could be your weight. It could be, inflammatory issues. It could be something that's diagnosed as an issue. What you're saying, if done properly, over time, mind you, and this is why this is not something that is a quick fix. We're not talking about 7 days of greatness or 30 days of greatness or 90 days to greatness, because I will argue that greatness takes time. Hashtag ask Tom Brady. But over time, if done properly, you can get back to your body being ideal.
You can get your body back. You can get your life back. You just have to choose to make a difference. That's what I tell people all the time. And again, it's a process. It's something continual. I love having people in the community that have this energy to help others, and not just themselves, because if you can really bring the body to greatness, to the level it needs to be, that's really what needs to happen. And, spending most of my life in an area where we worked on things that had to do with cancer, where we worked on human monoclonal antibodies and immunotherapy resistance. I mean, that's what I did for a living. And it's interesting when you know that NAD is a supplement that's been targeted by the pharmaceutical companies to use, that's in certain things that they're developing, but you have a natural source that you're using in a nutraceutical, and you know that there's studies that show that it's been used along with other immunosuppressant therapies, human monoclonal antibodies, cancer therapies, to really help the body with the CD8 function and the T cell function, because it really provides that protective nature to get rid of the bad cells and protect the good cells. And that's your goal when you're doing cancer treatments. We can't make claims. We can show people the therapies. I had the ability to work with this particular ingredient. Yep. In numerous areas, because my focus for so many years was cancer. But I think it's really important to point it out, because there's so many people in our community that have gone through cancer or gone through autoimmune disorders, and they want to know, what can I do afterwards? How can I support my body? What can I do to really bring my body back from being exposed to a lot of radiation and chemotherapy? And this is one of the key components that will really be able to support people in that endeavor.
I resemble that actually quite a lot, because I remember earlier on in my career, you were doing cloning and molecular design work. I was working with Lincoln Logs and Legos.
Okay, Clay.
It's different.
It's different. That's not true. But because you're younger than me, is that the point?
No, I'm just saying.
I might be younger than you, because I've taken products like this longer.
Oh, if I was building something, it was going to be with Legos, trying to put something together. You're like, oh yeah, I've done cloning, I've done molecular design, we made sheep, we did all that stuff. And it's like, how about that?
Clayton brags about me way too much, but
how can I not? We're gonna, when you go to PubMed.gov, because you can type in different searches on PubMed. You can look up patents, you can look up research. We're going to help PubMed try to simplify all of the work she's done. If I get my way, I have to send a message over to them, but you'll eventually just be able to type in #thegoddess, and it will pull up everything she's done. But we're not quite there yet.
No,
that'll be determined over time. They have the canonization of people, and they say, the things you have to do to become, what do the Catholics say? What is it? To become a saint. Right, you have to work 3 miracles. I think that's the process they go through. What do we have to do to qualify as a goddess?
Okay, well, I can tell you that that's not the point of the call today.
No, but it was kind of amazing. We got the references.
Then I'm not a goddess. I'm a human being that's trying to help and serve. And so I want to say this is something I really believe.
You can close the slides now, Jayla. You did amazing.
Is that Jayla?
Yes, Jayla's in charge today.
That's awesome.
She knocked it out of the park. Look at your hair. It looks outstanding. Look at me. It looks like I just got out of a fight with a squirrel or something.
I hate being on the big screen, but anyway.
We haven't been on the big screen yet. We are yet to do a movie. Could you imagine you and me it would be better than Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I'm like Brad Pitt. You're like the hot version of Angelina Jolie.
I'm not like an actress, so there you go. I am not on.
Do you honestly think we could be less entertaining than anyone on screen? I think we could.
Clayton, I am not an actress. You are a.
We don't. That's the thing. We don't have to act. That's just it. We are live in living color.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so listen. I want to say this. I want you guys, when you get this, to try it and to WhatsApp or text me. Those of you guys that know me and have my number, I want to hear, because let me tell you, my morning did not start off great. We did go to bed early because we have not slept. And a lot of you guys haven't slept either, because you are working as hard as we are to help as many people. And if you think I don't know that, I 100% know that. Last night I was going to bed, and I sat there and I literally prayed and listed off all the people I've met, all the people I've known that I could think of, for about 2 hours, because I really wanted to energetically think about people, pray for people, and let everybody know that I understand that we're all in this together. We are all doing this. This is not just me. This is not just Clayton or Patrick or pick a person, Jayla, anyone, Stephanie, it's all of us.
And Roland too.
We're all in this together. And I really want to say how thankful I am. I want to tell you guys, I got pictures of the Give Me Back My Youth and they blew me away.
Holy shit.
But I want to point out something. So I'm not doing Botox. I'm not doing anything on my face. And I noticed this morning, my face was so plump right here. And I thought, I look horrible. I noticed it the other day because I did a treatment, which was a laser that like helps the skin work. And I've been putting the Give Me Back My Youth and the Relive and Restore on my face.
You what?
You know that.
I haven't seen you do that. You're doing stuff.
You haven't been with me. You've been gone for a week and now you're leaving again.
I'm never gone.
But I wanted to notice,
just not be here.
Just in the last week, I've noticed how it's like smooth, and then I saw the pictures today, and it hit me. And of course, I'm taking it too every day. But it hit me how much this is helping women and men, how much they are liking the look on their skin, and the pictures were phenomenal on the lips.
It's insane. It's like 2 weeks and people are like exploding in greatness.
So I love the fact that you guys are sending those to me. And what we're going to do is we're going to send those to ISNS, to Tiger, and we're going to take the pictures. We're going to contact you guys through different doctors that we're working with, either in ISNS or in our doctor group. And we're going to do the case studies in those pictures. So we will have you guys sign a release form, but we will be paying people for the case studies and for us to be able to highlight them on the different things we're doing.
You know what's crazy? Like Justin Timberlake sang a song about it, but you're actually doing it. We're bringing sexy back.
Oh my gosh, I cannot. Well, okay. So I don't know if that's true. Well, I hope we are with everyone. But another thing that happened today is we met with an individual that works with the Sickle Cell Society and organization and raises quite a bit of money. She's actually a good friend of ours, and she is going to be highlighting how Mitochondria Shield and these other products are helping with certain disease states.
Let's talk about that because we're going to do a full thing on that. What causes sickle cell anemia?
Well, there's a genetic component.
Okay, so what causes the genetic damage? Because I know this answer because I researched it, but let's chat about this real quick.
You and I are going to have a difference of opinion on this again.
There's a genetic predisposition.
There is, but you need to turn that signaling on.
And what turns on the signaling?
Because the individual we met with today, her name's Tondalea Scott. Her husband was an NFL football player. Really great family. Jayla Archie.
Second generation wide receiver.
Jayla, who's doing this slide deck, her dad was also a professional football player.
Not as good as Freddie, though.
In the NFL, and they were roommates. So T came in and has been wanting to do some stuff with us, and we were looking at different things because we wanted to as well. And she's going to be running some groups that are focused on societies and different organizations that really help. And sickle cell is one of our first targets. So if you guys are interested in us putting attention into societies that are focused on diseases and doing case studies, please let us know because we just started this project. And Clayton asked, what causes sickle cell? So they're like Tondalea is a carrier, or she has it, yes. Right? And one of her sons has it.
She has the trait.
But she has the trait, but she doesn't have it.
So what would trigger that? Let me rephrase this because I actually discovered this last year in doing research because I'd never looked at it before.
Okay.
So you have the genetic trait, but as you've gone over with epigenetics, a gene can be on or off.
And and we don't always know. We usually don't know why. Yeah.
Exactly. But it's interesting because Down syndrome is actually the same etiology.
Yeah.
Early fetal developmental exposure to mercury. Very early fetal exposure to mercury.
And we've known that for a long time.
Is the trigger. Might not be the only, but is the primary catalytic trigger to cause that epigenetic switch to turn on that creates the sickle cell trait.
It's one of the triggers. And we've known it for a long time as scientists, yeah, and doctors know it. I mean, It's, you've got to really, and again, this is why when people ask me, I wish people before they got pregnant would be on Clean Slate and Mitochondria Defense Shield and really get their body and restore and relive greens and really get their body healthy, because it's so important. It's important that you carry the pregnancy. It's important that you protect yourself.
In this environment, you know, with all the stuff going on, do you think it's more important now for women to do stuff to protect their kids versus what is in the environment that causes fetal development issues and infertility and birth defects like crazy? Here's a question for you. Given what you know, because I don't want to make claims to anything, would you choose to gamble, given the environmental exposure that's around now, and say, I'm going to gamble on fetal development issues, or I'm going to do a couple things that are basically going to put my body in the best position possible to have a healthy pregnancy and the most amazing child I can create?
I would always put myself in the best situation to have the healthiest child possible. That's what I would always do. That's what every mother would do, Clay. I'm being honest. It's just that people don't know about it, and people are scared of things that are new that a doctor hasn't told them. And so the issue is, you need to consult with healthcare professionals in life, but you
Good
also,
ones, right? Not all.
You also need to listen to your body and you need to understand that nutraceuticals are extremely important. The wrong nutraceutical, the wrong supplement can hurt people, but the right supplement can make all the difference. It provides the body with what you need to really be the best version of yourself. And I say it all the time. No one questions taking a car in for a checkup. No one questions redoing a house or redoing a car or buying a new bike no one questions that, but people question spending that time and energy on understanding their body. I'm so thankful that this community cares enough about their own lives and everyone else's lives to learn about it. But I really look at the people in this community as experts, because you've got a highly scientific community that of mothers and fathers and friends that care about their health, that care about others, that have raised awareness. So I think the more we educate, the more we're going to have healthy babies, the more we're going to be able to help people, because it is important. Like right now, you get a basic vitamin when you're pregnant, which is great, but your body should be prepared for that pregnancy. You should be on the right vitamins. What I love about Relive Greens is they're greens. When people ask me questions, I'm like, these are greens. These are natural products. When you talk about Restore, it's natural products. What would you rather a pregnant person do? Would you rather them eat a cake full of gluten, or would you rather them have a Restore? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the question you have to ask yourself. What do you want to put in your body? What do you want it to look like? When you remodel a house, do you want to put something really nice in the house, or do you want to fill it full of junk? That's your question. That's what you have to decide. It's really simple to me.
It's like the old PSAs that we used to have on TV when I was growing up watching cartoons. Hashtag now you know. But you said something. You said mothers, fathers, and such. Some of us, like me, we're not a father, but I get to be a dad.
Yes.
And then I get to say, who's your daddy now?
I don't even know what that means. Okay.
It's one of my favorite lines ever.
We're over.
Are we over?
No,
or are we done?
We're done because we have another meeting. We're 18 minutes late.
Oh.
So I want to say thank you again. I hope we didn't bore everyone. I hope that you learned something. I hope you were educated. A special thank you to Tiger and Jayla and Patrick for working on the slide deck and being part of this with us. Our corporate team is growing. Before we get off, I want to tell you guys we are bringing on different people. We are going to have 4 or 5 new people starting. We just talked about Tonda. We have an intern that's probably starting to work with Preston.
Oh, and so we educated, and as a wise man once said, are you not entertained?
We were talking about people in the office, Clayton.
But we have cool new people. Who else is coming in a week?
John Hayden, who was a regional, he's probably watching, he was a regional manager for
Johnson & Johnson,
Merck, different companies. He also worked with me as a COO in different companies where I was working at the time. He's also married to my sister.
Who else is coming?
Well, we have
Duquesne
is starting on the second week of August. And we have some doctors here locally that we are working on finalizing them coming over in working with us. They're pretty high profile.
Yeah.
We're extremely excited about that. And then we have some additional assistance and support that we're bringing in. We are doing more photo shoots, and we are hiring a PR firm to really help us with PR for you guys and putting support behind what you guys really want to do. So we're extremely excited about it.
And we see hand raised. We just don't have time for questions and raised hands. So we've got to bounce.
And I do want to say, I think Jorgen's on this. They do have the German book, I think. Is that correct, Patrick?
Oh, and the audio books are coming too.
German books are on
There's
their
gonna be an announcement
way.
for that later.
The German book is on the way in hard copy, and then we're getting ready to announce in about a week the 27 translations and have it available.
That are in audio with root pods. Booyah, Stuart.
When are we announcing? When are we announcing Cyprus so people can go ahead and?
I think this week or next week. I'll be in Cyprus next week. We're making sure everything's good. Everything will be videoed. I'll be shooting some B-roll over there so we can talk about how amazing it is. I'm going to go jump in the Mediterranean, make it look awkward. Maybe I'll sit on the poker table a little bit. Actually, I got to do that
I thought
because
you were having a poker tournament.
we are having a poker tournament in Cyprus. So yes, I'm going to have to be on the poker table.
I won't probably. I might play.
You can't play. You'll win.
Can I play?
No, of course you can play. No one can read you though, and you know what everyone's holding. It is not fair.
Okay, well, I can't wait to see everyone.
Oh.
So, we may be coming
I'll
over.
go all in with you.
We may be coming over to Europe again in September. We're trying to decide right now. If we do, we'll probably pick 4 or 5 countries to go and meet with people. And I have to say a special shout out. Birgit met with the governor of Missouri. I'm from Missouri. And I sent that picture to my parents and bragged about Birgit. And I think my parents think I'm important now because I know Birgit. I'm not joking.
And that is probably true.
Yes.
And we have to give a shout out to Thomas too, because the governor of Missouri was probably coming to visit Birgit, and Thomas got to drive her.
Yeah. Anyway, my mom and dad love that. So I wanted to say thank you again. Thanks for always making life better, and we really appreciate everything, everyone.